Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is my discussion today about cheap knives. And they are cheap. The lot here, less than 20 bucks for all of this. Less than 20 bucks. That's not bad. I mean, you got a Swiss Army knife, two locking blade knives, and a multi-tool, like Leatherman style multi-tool, for under 20 bucks. So from that standpoint, this is not like the end of the world bad. Like, you get a lot, right? I mean, it looks like it. Full disclosure, this is my 5th attempt at making this video. I keep getting a little heated with one of these knives in particular, and it's driving me crazy. But we'll pass that. We'll get to that when we get there. Let's start with what I think is the best of these items, and then we'll move to what I think is the worst of these items, and whether or not anyone ever should own them. So the first thing, this is definitely the best thing here. This has a functional blade that does still cut, even though I've used it to do some damage to some wood. It does still cut through paper. So I mean, it's not the greatest edge holding steel ever, but again, this is a $4 Swiss Army knife knockoff. So what do you expect, right? It says it's made of stainless steel, and I'm tempted to believe them. I sprayed these all down with some salt water, and let them sit for like an hour. I don't really see any evidence of rusting, so for now I'm going to go with probably somewhat stainless. This has a pretty good complement of tools. It's got a pair of scissors, which are sort of sticking up and maybe a little grabby there. I wouldn't. Ooh, that doesn't feel good. But it's got not pliers, some like a pry tip, bottle opener. This might be a can opener. It is a can opener. You could, use one of those as flatheads. They've got back here, you can open a bottle of wine in the field, which you'll never ever do, but you have it if you need it. This is actually not a terrible tool, especially for under $5. I mean, the equivalent Swiss Army knife here, like actual Swiss Army knife, would probably be in the, I don't know, $40, $50 range. So this is a big savings. It's 10% of the price. I will say it's not the most quality item. None of these things feel smooth, line up well, or all grippy and grabby. Also, it sort of looks like it might be even coming apart a little bit in some ways. But this is fine. Is this a great tool? No. Is it fine for keep in your pocket as a backup kind of knife? Sure, absolutely. I'm not going to. I carry a little Leatherman squirt in my pocket as my little backup this kind of concept. But it's not terrible. So that's what I feel about that. This is the worst thing on this table by miles. I can't even begin to describe to you how cheap this feels. First, it is metal, but it's not a good metal. It's sharp edges here, as opposed to on an actual Leatherman, which are very rounded, very thick edges. I mean, just look at the difference there. So when you grip down on this, it doesn't hurt your hand. When you grip down on this, God, it does. Then you add to that the fact that the act of moving this is not nice. And it's not just the spring, it's literally like whatever the mechanism is inside of here feels ridiculously terrible. Again, $5 tool, so that wouldn't necessarily kill it for me, even though this probably does. The grip here probably does kill it a little bit for me. But I think the worst thing is that I cannot access most of these tools. I can't get them out. I literally can't get them out. And a multi-tool that I can't get out the tools on is not really worth anything for me. So that's a big pass. That's a big pass. That's a no buy from me. Now we come to the two locking knives. Okay? We all know about locking knives. We have your standard frame lock knife, where part of the frame is the lock. Can't believe this knife still has lock stick from the number of times I've flipped this thing. But still, these are liner lock knives. The only liner locks I own are Kershaw Blurs, so they're assisted action knives. But you can see the little liner right here. Inside the scale is the lock. Okay, no big deal. And yes, you can close this one-handed. So now, that's fine and good. That's a liner lock knife. These are liner lock knives. The Kershaw Blur, not an issue to actuate the lock. It's not an issue to, there's no lock stick, there's no lock rock, there's no blade play. And then we get to these guys. This knife is unsafe. It always has been. It always will be. It's unsafe. This knife has a terrible action, which you would never worry about. It has vertical blade play, which already makes it really unsafe feeling. It has, I don't know if you can hear that. It's got scale / liner play. I mean, it feels like it's breaking apart in my hand, and it looks, honestly, it's supposed to look like a staghorn, but I think it looks like a turd with a lot of like white streaks in it. More than anything, it's not a good looking knife, and I don't think it's safe. And after only doing some minor feathering of some wood, I don't know if you can make out any of that damage to the blade there, but it's starting to be a little bit chipped up, and it's not even sharp anymore. So you're going to be sharpening a knife like this a lot. This knife was not too bad out of the box. It was sharp. It cut paper. It was at like about a 50% lockup. It's now at 100%, by the way. And it has become bad. Just a little bit of feathering, just a little bit of cutting, not a lot. And, oh, look at that lock rock. I think you could probably see that. Let me see. Yes. The lock bar literally moves when you play with the knife. And that is bad. That makes this really unsafe. Add to that the fact this thing had horrendous lock stick out of the box, still does, and you can't get to that lock bar very well. I mean, this knife I hate. This is the knife that has been, this is the knife that's the reason this is like the 5th time I've tried to film this review. I can't close it anymore. There we go. I need 2 hands because my thumb is just dead from opening and closing this knife. This thing is not fun to open. I could justify carrying something like this as a backup knife. Say I'm having a day where I have a slightly more elegant blade in my pocket and then something slightly harder use, but I still want to have something on hand that I don't care about, that I could give to somebody else if they needed to borrow a knife. I could maybe hand them this and say, here, why don't you go open your box with that? Be careful, it'll only open like 2 or 3 strips of tape before you have to sharpen it. You could maybe do that. That could maybe be okay. This was unsafe out of the box. It already had 100% lockup, and there was some slight blade play already. This is bad. This is terrible in every single way. This is honestly the only thing here that I would ever actually carry in my own pocket. It's not terrible. It's got a good set of tools. Some of them are useful, maybe. Not necessarily to me, but to some people. This I could maybe justify telling somebody they could carry as a second knife, or third knife, or fourth knife, but not your first knife. You can see these are all cheaply made, not gonna last, not very robust things. But some of them, especially the locking knives, for me are almost, I would definitely say, borderline dangerous. This is not bad in the dangerous respect because you can't even get the knife out. So it's going to be kind of hard to hurt yourself with it. This is not bad in any way other than just being a little bit cheap feeling and cheaply made. These are bad. These are not good. These are not good. Would I buy any of these things or tell anyone to buy any of these things? Honestly, probably not. Unless I knew they were on a strict budget and they needed like a good backup knife, a good thing to have in their pocket. And then I would send them this way. I would never recommend this. I would recommend you buy an actual turd before you buy this. And this, I don't even know how they can sell this like as a multi-tool. I can't use it. It's not usable. Maybe somebody with super tiny fingers could get in there, but then what on earth are you doing with that multi-tool? I don't know. Is there a justification for cheap knives? Sure, they're cheap. You can beat on them and throw them away. This thing is broken. At the end of this, I'm going to throw it away. This is broken. It was broken basically when I got it. But at the end of this, gone. This doesn't work. Why would I keep it? I can't use the tools. Gone. I will probably keep this because honestly, I don't hate this. There's nothing terribly wrong with this. It's a good thing to have if I just need to give somebody something as a quick backup kind of knife. I would maybe give it to them. So I think that's got to be my verdict here, which is just not all crappy knives are made the same. Not all crappy knives are crappy. This is not crappy. It's cheap, but it's not crappy. This didn't feel super crappy when I first got it out of the box. It really does now. This always felt crappy and is crappy and looks like crap. This is crappy, and this is definitely crappy. These are all cheaply made. This one is the only one that doesn't feel like complete crap. This feels like it was less crap, or it was actually not crap at all when I first got it out of the box. It felt fine. Nah. And but these ones were not terrible. So I think I would say you can maybe be okay going this way. Definitely not this way. Maybe a little this way, depending on how you're going to use it. If you're just going to use this to open like boxes, okay, sure. But otherwise, definitely not. So that's my verdict. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I might throw in some clips of using some of these things before I throw them away. But otherwise, I hope everybody has a good rest of their day. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.